Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today our topic is scope functions in Kotlin. I will discuss about bunch of Kotlin scope functions which are also part of Kotlin standard library. Those are let, run, also, apply and with. In this video, I will demonstrate the differences between those available scope functions and also will discuss relevant use cases in real life. Before starting, I would like to mention one thing. Once a great Android developer said, whatever you do with scope functions can be done without. This means using a scope function is not mandatory, but having a good knowledge on scope functions will definitely give you the edge. Kotlin scope functions predominantly increase readability and make your code more concise. Alright, let's start coding. First, we will go to the Android Studio IDE. Although we are not doing any Android specific project here, you can use any kind of Kotlin IDE like IntelliJ or Visual Studio Code is also fine. But I will demonstrate this example in Android Studio. So I go to the Start New Android Studio project and select an empty activity and name it like scope functions and place it place it here and finish. Going back to our main activity, and here we'll declare a variable which is nullable type, string nullable type, and we set the value as Android. And here I have created a function as let scope function and we call this function from our onCreate. Actually it is not necessary, so to calling a function to demonstrate the let or other scope functions, but as we are going to demonstrate all those scope functions in a single activity or single program, so better to separate them with some functions. Well, our first scope function we are going to discuss today is let. Well, the let scope function. So before demonstrate how does the let work, we will show an example first without using the let scope function and what is the difference or what advantages does let function gives us. We'll show that. Okay, consider and situation that we want to print the length of this string if it is not null, and if it is null it will simply print a 0. So how can we do that without using this the let scope function? We can simply declare a variable, name it length, and it will be a empty string, and we can write length if condition, if normal string not equals null, it will be, then length will be normal string as it was not nullable, so it will be dot length dot toString, toString, and else it will be simply print 0. And finally we will print ln, we will print the length value, so it will be without let scope function, and we'll print the value of length. So if we run this app, we can see from our log that if I put a filter here, scope function, and we can see the result, the log is showing that it is 7, and this is the length of this string. Let's see how we can do the same thing, exactly same thing using late scope function. So we take the normal string here, so just copy it, and normal string, and okay, first we okay, let me create a variable first, and the normal string, and it is nullable, so dot we write the late scope function. Okay, so we are operating this late scope function on normal string, on a string, and this is called the receiver. A receiver is nothing but it could be a variable, a object, or an instance of a class. So late scope function or any other scope function operates on a receiver, and most of the scope functions have receiver. So, and we can see that it is so a lambda function is created, and it is the it function. If you can see that it is a type of string, and actually the type of the receiver. Okay, and here we can write simply it dot length. Okay, it dot length, and that's it. It will print the length of the string. And for this else statement, we can use the else operator here. So it will be an else, it will print 0. Okay, and if we print this print ln and exactly copy the exact and it is not without late scope function, and we will print the value of x. Okay, so it will be x, and if we run this our app now, and from our logcat we can now see that the late scope function is printing exactly the same output, and you see how ridiculously less amount of code we need to write when we use the late scope function or any other scope function. Basically, the basic principle of or basic advantages of using the scope functions are it makes our code more idiomatic. We first of all, if we compare that the non late scope function and scope function code, we can see that we do not need to first create any if statement or even create any variable here, and it is easily readable. And from here I would show you the structure of a late scope function. So a late scope function basically looks like this. A late scope function has a receiver, and in our case the normal string, this is the receiver. And receiver, as I earlier said, that receiver could be anything like object or any variable on which you are operating the scope function. And late refers to the receiver or object through it. So actually the late actually use the parameterized version of our receiver or object, whatever you say, and changes the scope or range, returns the value of last statement. Please pay attention that late scope function will return the last statement of this scope, which is not very obvious from here. It is printing the it.length, the length of the string. We can do a little experiment. So I can write it can any iOS, which is a string, and what it would, if I run this, what it would return. So if I run this, and from the logcat we can see the iOS. It is printing the iOS, and this is the last statement. And actually this is the structure of a late scope function, and as you know, it returns only the last statement. And although there is any implicit or any explicit return statement, but almost all scope function returns something. So this is the case, and in real life I use late function basically with Android several types of views. Just like if I give you examples, like for y, we create a variable, and text view, we create a text view. By the way, text view is the text view in our XML layout. In the XML layout, there is a text view here. So this is the text, we referring this text view, and we apply a late function, and lead dot, we put some text icon, and maybe it is Windows, and yeah, we want to make it uppercase, so dot toString dot to uppercase, and finally we print the variable here. So it will be, just copy it, sorry, okay, and print it, and from this from our logcat we can see this is showing Windows in uppercase. So in this example we take text view as a receiver and change this scope or scope in the latest scope function, inside the latest scope function, and we get the output, we get the last statement as a return statement. Okay, that's all about the latest scope function. Now we will discuss about the also scope function. So there is a scope function named also. Just minimize it and create a function also scope function, and create the function here. Okay, so before doing anything related also scope function, I would like to first show you the structure of also scope function, which is very similar to late, but there is a major difference. This is the structure of the also scope function, and you see also operates on a receiver, and everything is same except the return statement, that it returns the object or receiver, or the receiver itself. In late scope function we see late scope function returns only the last statement, but also scope function returns the receiver itself. So let me show the example. Okay, I little bit expand here, and in our last example what we did, we will do the exact same thing inside our also scope function. Okay, so copy it and paste it here, and instead of using late we are using also, and late scope function we in our logcat we write also, and we run our app. From our logcat we see the also scope function is returning Android AX.app.compat widget something something, and basically it is the text view object. So this is returning the text view, or okay, the receiver itself. So this is the thing, the same exact code. The late scope function is returning a string, the last value, and the same code when we use as also scope function, we apply also scope function, so it returns the same receiver here. So that is the basic difference between late and also scope function. Okay, a good thing about also scope function is also you can use also as an extension function of your receiver. What I say that means, let me show you an example which I oftentimes use in my real life coding. Okay, let me create a scenario. So okay, inside your also scope function, just think there is a list of string. So var string list. This example gonna take some time, so you can skip it and go to your next scope function of this video, but I will recommend to show you this thing also because you can relate yourself with real life project. Okay, so string list, and it will be a mutable list of it will be type of string, and there are a couple of string, and some of them are having length of 1, and some of having length of 2, some of having length of 3, 4, and others. Okay, and we will apply a map function here, and it will be var and it will be string list dot we apply a map function, and inside the map we take the length of each item. So what does the map do? The map actually operates on this string list and take the length and calculate the length of each item here, and finally we apply a filter function here, and we filter out it, and this result will the filter out all those elements who has length greater than 2. So don't bother too much if you don't know what is map, what is filter. Just think that map first map will operate on this list and calculate each element's length, and what filter will do, filter will filter out all those elements who has length greater than 2 and make a list of them. So just see if we show the list right now, we can write outside also or outside scope function, and result list. Okay, we run it, and from our logcat we can see this is giving a output of 345. It is doing what it exactly supposed to do, that it first take the length of this. First the map function take length of each element, and the filter function have filter out those element who has length greater than 2. So this is showing 345. This is this length is 3, is 4, and it is 5, which is easily understandable. But what we want to let's come to the point what we want to do. I want to get a log from exactly from here, so that I can see that our map function is working fine. And if we first, I will demonstrate how we can do this thing without using the also scope function, and later I will show how we can do the exact thing using the also scope function. So let me show the code. Okay, I will not write the code because it will be unnecessarily lengthy, the video will be unnecessarily lengthy, so I will just copy paste it. And here we haven't used any also scope function. First we take a variable where we take the output of map, and we this is our this log we want to print in our logcat, and as we need to concat our result on filter, so we create another variable and we apply filter on our temp result list, and we get the output. So let me run this app, and from our logcat we can see without also scope function it is showing the length of those of our elements. So this is working fine, and I think this line is not necessary, it has no use. So question is how we can achieve the same thing using also scope function. It is very interesting thing. We can use also scope function as an extension function. So let me show you. Okay, let's just copy it here and paste it here, and we can apply scope function, also scope function here, just here. So also let me give show it in a new line. Okay, it will be more readable, and I can say also scope function. So scope function and it will be it. We are using it because this it is referring to this string list, and this string list is working as a as the receiver. Okay, so if we run this app, okay, first clear the logcat and let me run this app. I made a little mistake. I have forgotten to use the print line command here, because without print ln we cannot see anything. Okay, and just cut it here and paste and clear the logcat and run, and from the logcat we can see they are giving the exactly same output. And here we can see how it is more idiomatic, how also scope function make our code very easy and easily understandable and very idiomatic. And I personally use also scope function a lot in my program, and hope you will also after watching this video you will also use also scope function in your code without any problem. And here comes my most used and most favorite scope function, apply. So apply function actually works as a similar, it is very similar to the also, but it has a quite a difference. Let me show the structure of apply. So this is our apply. It works on a receiver and refers to the receiver or object through this. If you can remember, our late and also refers our receiver through it. And if you see the late also refers to the receiver as it, but in our in the apply scope function the receiver is refers as this. Actually, what is this and what is it, I will show a couple of minutes later. This is very basic principle, what is it and what is this. This simply refers to the uh, object itself, but it actually works very similar to a parameters version of your function or a argument. Okay, I will discuss it later, but let me first show how apply works. So, and for this example I will create a class outside the main activity. I will copy paste it. This class name is foo, and it take a string as constructor, and inside it has a member variable, and it has a member function which will print the name and address, and initially the address is unknown. And let me create the function first. So apply scope function, and inside the main activity I will create the function. And let me draw a very simple situation here. Let us create a object of this class, and we want to change the address from this object. How we can do it without using the apply scope function? So here we can create a var foo, and it will be foo, and we give a name, and if we want to change the address, so we can do it like foo dot this address, and we give it a value, so it will be, and if we want to access the function here, member function, so it will be foo dot print data, and you can write without using apply scope function. Okay, now if we run our app from our logcat, we can see without using apply scope function is saying the name and the address Alice Ireland. Okay, so how we can achieve the same functionality using also apply scope function? So we can use apply very easily. Just copy it here, dot apply, dot apply, and apply refers to this foo, this actually instance of direct instance of foo. So it will be, you can write this dot address, but it is very cumbersome to write all time this, so you simply write address equals, and simply print data and run this. And our from our logcat we can see these are those two statements are giving the same exact output, but I think using apply, after using apply, you do not have to use the object name again and again. You just directly access all those member variables and member functions. And another mostly used, I will show you another example, and this is for the first time we will use the actual Android output. So we have a text view here, which is very basic, and it is showing Windows, and it is a very small text. So we can use apply to manipulate the Android views. and it is very easy, and I use it most of the time to manipulate the text, manipulate the views on Android view systems. So how you can use it, just giving an example. So we have the text view dot apply. By the way, this text view is referring to the XML here, text view. Okay, this is the idea of text view. So apply and change the text, and text will be applied text, and we can set a color, set text color, and it will be resources dot get color. Maybe we use the color accent, so color it will be r dot color, I think r dot color dot color accent, and we will we can change the text size, so text size. We can do many more things. Okay, so what we want to do, we want to change the look and feel and the value of this text view. Okay, so if we run this app, and from the emulator we can see the value and the color and the text size has been changed. So this is the apply, this is how apply scope function works. So let scope function, also scope function, and the apply scope function are the mostly used scope functions considering my work, real life work. And there are two remaining scope functions, those are run and with, and I almost never used run and with scope function in my real life, and I also do not I also will not give a brief description on run and with, but I will go fast. But before starting the run and with, I would like to show you the differences between the this and it. Let's consider a class. We can instantiate the class by creating an object of that class. On the other hand, we can create a reference of the class using the class variable as a function parameter. This points to the instance of the class, and it points to the reference of the class. Let's think the name of the class is car. The car class has a member variable named wheel. The initial value of wheel is 4. This car class can be instantiated, and the object could be change the variable value of wheel from 4 to 8. So when take the instance or object of the car class with this keyword, we get the changed value of wheel member variable in this particular case. On contrary, we can use the car class as a reference to a object, just like use a function parameter. So when we use reference of a car class as it keyword, we always get a fresh object of car. The value of member variable will always be 4. I think you have understand the basic differences between this and it. Alright, got back to our code, and now I will show the usage of run scope function and with scope function real quick. So I give it a name, and actually I do not see any good reason to use run scope function and with scope function, and for this I will make the I will not go deeper with run and with, and I haven't used run and with in my real life almost never. So run and okay, So run scope function is very similar to let scope function. If you can remember the let scope function, the run scope function, let scope function is very similar. Both of them return the last statement. Only the difference is let refer the receiver as it, but the run refer the receiver as this. So this is only the difference. So I create a variable x equals, and this is string YouTube. This is our receiver, and when I apply run scope function, when I use run scope function, it is referencing as this. So what we can say, this dot to uppercase, and we print this, print ln scope function, and we print the value. Okay, so when we run this, you know what is the expected value. It will show the YouTube in uppercase. Okay, from the logcat we can see run scope function. It is the value YouTube is showing. The last scope function remains is with. With has the similar feature as run, like it also the with also returns the last statement of the scope, but with has two very distinct feature, which is all those functions uses, all those scope functions, like whatever you say, run or apply or also and let, all are performs like a extension function as the receiver. So this is the receiver, and it just the scope functions like let, also, apply, run acts like an scope function of the receiver, but with is not with doesn't look like that. With with scope function is just works as a regular function. So it will be, if I consider this example as with, so it will be like, so give it a name with works as a regular function. So with, okay, we create a variable first, variable y equals with, and here is the receiver. The receiver will be work as a function parameter. So this is another properties, ideal properties of with. So with, and here we see the with works as a regular function, although it is a scope function, and it takes receiver as a parameter. All those other run or other scope function takes the receiver as a extension. They actually perform as a extension function on the receiver, but the with function works as a regular function and takes the receiver as a parameter. That's it. And here we can write this dot to uppercase and print the statement, print line, and if we run the app from the logcat, we see it returns the YouTube, the same thing as run, just they with scope function as a different structure. And I have found an interesting thing in internet. This is a table. This is a table that these are the scope function apply, also, let, run, with, and how the object is referenced as this, or apply references this, also references it, let it, run this and with this, and what it returns, the object, and let returns the last statement. And I have discussed all those things, and these this actually calls the end of this tutorial. I think you have enjoyed this. I have tried to explain all those Kotlin scope functions in this tutorial, and if you like the video, smash the like button and subscribe if you not subscribed yet, and stay home, stay safe during the pandemic, COVID-19 pandemic, and see you in the next video. Till then, good night.